I really want to talk about travel. I know you guys, if you've been following me at all, that you have seen that lately I've been talking about how travel is the answer and that I'm taking people with me on an expansion experience adventure in October. And I realized that I haven't really talked about why travel is I think it's so important. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Dana Corey. I'm a high performance business strategist. And aside from working as an advisor, I also lead people on these week-long travel adventures to third world countries. Actually, not just people, but business owners. So why do I do this? Well, I've been traveling since I was a little girl, like really little, like 9 months old. I've been on airplanes I've been riding airplanes all the time. And now in my life, if I'm not on an airplane every 4 to 6 weeks, I get kind of itchy. And how do I say this? Given the way that the world is now and what we're all going through and thinking about, I think that for me, the reason why travel is so important is because it breeds tolerance and acceptance and compassion. But surprisingly enough, not just for others, but for yourself. When we travel, so there's lots of different ways to travel, right? We can go on a road trip, or we can go within the country, or we can get more adventuresome and maybe we go somewhere that's familiar, like Canada, which is very familiar to us as Americans because it's pretty similar. Even though it's not the same, it's pretty similar. Some people have gone to Europe, but I have found that taking people somewhere that is actually enough different from their everyday experience does something magical. It separates people from their automatic ways of thinking about things. It separates, and what I mean by separate is that they actually get an objective view into their own mechanics, right? So it separates people from their decision making. It separates people from how they simply process challenges or conversations, because things can be so different. So this year I'm taking 6 business owners to Morocco. My husband and I are taking 6 business owners to Morocco for a week. And if you've never been to Morocco, I want you to just imagine that this is really far from what you and I are used to in the way that we live. And what I know, my husband and I were there in December, and it is a challenge, and yet is exciting all at the same time. And it really had me just spending we delve into the culture. We don't travel like luxury travel, right? We don't travel to where tourists go. We travel to where people live and where they work and where they play and where they grow vegetables and where they fight the earth just to create a living for themselves. And what I saw for myself was what I had thought about entrepreneurship. 98% of Moroccans are entrepreneurs. It's an amazing amount of people. And they're entrepreneurs out of necessity, not out of choice, because they have to figure out a way to feed themselves that day. But also what I noticed is that unlike business owners here, where we're looking at a vision and we're trying to get somewhere, the entire goal for every business owner in Morocco is simply to make enough money to eat at the end of the day and then start the next day and do it all over again. So it's little things like that shift the way you think about living. So I found that when I came back, it altered how I interact with my clients, who are all entrepreneurs, in little ways that change the conversation. And that's what travel does, is it allows you to see yourself in relationship to others. That broadens your view and makes for some room for understanding of them, but also enlightens and, what's the right word? Gives you some insight into your automatic way of being that has been created by the culture in which we grew up in. And I firmly believe that if everybody was required to travel, or everybody was required to travel. I know that's a really big statement, but if everybody was required to travel, even just out of their state on a regular basis, that we would have a lot more compassion and really love for each other. So that's why I think travel is so important. I hope that you get to go places. Like, go places. Just go places. Go places. I promise it will have an impact on you for the good and for the insight. So have a great day. Bye.